Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great New Year's Eve today, and I hope you have great plans tonight. I'm recording this kind of late. I ironically only really had plans to do this video, but I had another one of those days where I woke up, not feeling super awesome. So I just kind of decided to take a drive, and then I still couldn't decide on the video I wanted to do. I had, two things I was really thinking about doing. Video, we're going to be talking about 2024 in review. It's New Year's Eve. I figured, that's what I'll do today. I could have done it tomorrow, but doing it today. Because it makes sense. It's the final day. Let's talk about it. So I have basically a couple of things written down on this, and as I go past, I will add a little bit of things. But to be really honest, not a lot of crazy things happen this year now that I am moved out of my house. To be really honest, not a lot of shit has really happened that, throughout all of 2024, there wasn't that much crazy shit happening all the way until the latter half of it, or later half of it. So let's get started with January. January started out pretty good, ironically enough. I went to a New Year's party, 2023 into 2024, and I woke up feeling great at that New Year's party. We had done a joke about going under the table at New Year's because this person at our group had that happen where they went under a table at the ball drop and they found their person the next year, which was someone that was in our group. Funny thing is though, at least to my knowledge, all three of us who were under the table, I think there was 4 of us under the table, and I think only one person ended up finding someone in 2024, which, it's whatever. We're happy for them, of course. It's just funny that 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 3 didn't have that happen. See, this is why traditions aren't all that kind of fun, because it can lead people to have expectations. I didn't really have expectations. I just did it because I thought it was funny. But if other people had expectations, it leads people to just go searching for shit and trying to find it. I don't think that's great. But I ended up still going into 2024 with my head held high, gonna have fun this year. And, for the most part, 2024 was interesting, to say the least. So in January or early February, it might be early February, I started working for Amazon. So we're going to lead into February. I started working for Amazon, being a delivery driver. And honestly, it was not that bad if you are just looking at doing the work. But if you are looking at everything else, holy fuck. Please save yourself so much life energy and mental energy and stuff. Unless you really have to get that job working for Amazon, don't go and work for Amazon. Unless you know that that company you're going to be working for are good people, otherwise you are effectively about to be really screwed. Which is what happened to effectively me as I started working for them. It actually was not that bad and good for 3 months, and then they started doing that quiet firing shit, and we'll get to that, because it ironically coincided with something else when they started quiet firing me, which is really funny, and I can't tell if it's a coincidence or it kind of started the chain. In February as well, I did mushrooms again after a year or 2 of not doing them, because I had a really bad experience the last 2 times I did them. I was like, okay, I think I'm just done taking these. I don't think they're for me. And even though I've had really good trips and stuff like that, and I felt better afterwards, and I just went into that, unfortunately, with those memories. But now I've had a really good one again, so I think I can start having good ones again. I don't know how that shit works. But my friend and I went to DC, and we got a bar and split it in half, a chocolate bar, a mushroom bar, split it in half, and he ate one half and I ate one half. And not gonna lie, I had almost more fun. Like, we went to go see an art gallery and walk around and look at the art gallery, but the problem I was having, because again, I thought bad stuff could happen to me again, so I kind of wanted to leave the art gallery, because sober, I was fucking having a hard time knowing where anything was in this museum already, and I straight up said to my friend, I was like, hey man, like I just said, I'm sober, and I have a strong feeling that the moment I start tripping, I'm going to become a nightmare because I already don't know where shit is. And he was like, okay, maybe we should leave. And that's what we ended up doing. We ended up just walking around to monuments, and it was raining, but it wasn't too bad in some areas. We were just chilling and vibing in the rain. Honestly, it felt really great. The rain, the walk. I was having a really good time with my friend, and genuinely, it was a lot of fun walking around outside in the rain. We were having a vibe. And then we finally get back to, we start trying to go to the metro to go to my car, our car, because we drove separately. And it was just so funny. As we walked down to the metro, we started tripping again after we thought we were coming out of it, because of the air pressure that happens from DC street level to the metro level. So we basically started re-tripping again, and we're both sitting there waiting for our train, just tripping balls again, and it was so funny to just be sitting there staring at the wall and watching it move and shit. But we had a lot of fun that day, and honestly, a lot of my early 2024 really became a lot of me just working and collecting my money again and trying to get with this job because this job was paying me well, and again, I was enjoying it. It was just the supervisors. So March comes around. Oh, I guess that's something I can put in here. So March comes around, and this is when I get to go to my first bachelor trip. And I'm 24 at the time. Ironically, I think I have one of the coolest birthdays, just as a little side tangent here. I think I have one of the coolest birthdays because I will always know what year it is based on my birthday, depending on which part of the year it is. So if it's obviously before my birthday, I am the same age as the year. But if it's after my birthday, I will be the same age next year. It's just a really... I don't know why I even found that moniker to remember my birthday. Remember my age, but that's kind of just a funny thing that I, have. But I went to my first bachelor trip, and genuinely, it was a lot of fun. And I'm going to try and insert clips, because I found them on my phone, of me on this trip, or at least of the scene that I got to see every morning. It was really pretty. We picked a ski lodge, and we just chilled and had a lot of fun, played games. It was just a really good time, just dudes hanging out. We could have done more, but, we're all pretty chill people, so it was a lot of video games, drinking, hanging out in the hot tub. It was just a fun weekend all together, and that definitely highlighted my whole March. So April rolls around, and this is where I start having a problem with my job. Like, really, this is where the problems start kicking up. I had already had one minor issue with Amazon where they basically had me, the company I was working for, I should probably stop saying Amazon, but instead of the company name, I'll just continue to say Amazon because that's what I'm meaning. So the company, or Amazon, I don't know, whichever one I switch up to. So the company, I guess that's what I'm sticking with. The company decided to try and get me to drive a vehicle I wasn't even certified to fucking drive, and it went horribly. I didn't get stuff delivered necessarily fully on time. I was getting stopped at a locker trying to deliver shit. It was just a nightmare altogether. And I was getting really frustrated because, you get told in your training that, always be ready to reach out, or if you need to reach out, we're always happy to help you. But the moment you actually start asking for help, which is what they don't tell you about, they start mentally checking off shit so that way they can start getting you on whether or not they think they need to let you go and find more people instead of actually helping you. I know, it's wild. So not only that happened, but I get bit unlucky as fuck. Like, a majority of my early 2024, there's stuff I am not talking about in this video, that either will be later videos or what have you, but I basically had a whirlwind of a 2024 all the way up until late 2024. But basically, I got attacked by my favorite fucking dog, Great Pyrenees. I've called them Grand Pyrenees forever. I don't know if anyone's called me on that besides my roommate. But they should be called Grand Pyrenees because they're so cute babies that are just giant floof monsters with their giant floofy. It's a mane, but man, it kind of feels like a dog crown. But they're such adorable, huge, fluffy white monsters. Like, they're so, well, most of them are white. I think you can get other colors, but they look like snow. And that's what I really like about them. And the fact that they're big, I've grown up with big dogs my whole life. But I got bit by it delivering a package. Not the dog's fault, of course. I will never be mad at an animal for doing what it literally was put there to do. Especially, it was protecting chickens that were over on the side. So basically, my vehicle is here. They have a little roundabout driveway. I pull up, the door is here. And I get out and I start walking around. And over here is their garage. And I see some chickens. And I'm thinking, I don't know why chickens are out right now, but it's cool. They're chickens, they're not gonna come and bother me. I can deliver my shit and it'll be fine. No, that is indeed not what happened. Because not like a few seconds after I get almost to the door is when a Great Pyrenees, a big boy, walks around the corner and starts trotting up to me, and I was like, hey buddy. Like trying to be friendly. This is also my fault. Do not do this. Technically, I shouldn't have kept going. However, I know Great Pyrenees to be giant fluff balls. The thing I totally forgot is they are not giant fluff balls when they have stuff to protect. And what were they protecting? I don't know. Chickens. So, the chickens were obviously far away, but of course it has to protect everywhere. So I get a nip on my leg. Well, it nips at me and I kind of dodge it and I run up there and I'm like, hey buddy, like trying to get it to stop, like don't do that. And it keeps nipping at me, gets my other leg, then got my other leg. And I straight up somehow I still sat the package down without throwing it. Yes, I was at least nice enough to not do that. But man, did I really think about throwing a bigger hissy fit than what I did. Don't like calling it that, but straight up, they didn't hear me yelling for the dog, like for them to get the dog. They didn't do anything, and not even my boss did anything. I straight up texted them about it, and this is where my pissiness with this job really started coming out, because I genuinely was like, I just got bit by a dog, what's the plan? Kind of shit. And they were just like, you won't deliver there anymore. The fuck? Like, let's start actually doing some shit, because we were told, hey, let us know and we'll ixnay them. And I'm just told, yeah, you just won't be delivering to them anymore. Is it because you're running out of places to deliver? Because that can actually happen. Clients can run out of places to deliver. But honestly, it started to become very quickly not my monkey, not my problem. I would just come into work, grab my shit, grab my packages, load up, and leave. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I wouldn't do any of that shit. I would just get my stuff and do what I needed to do. Because trying to interact with your supervisor about anything, especially shit you shouldn't have to do, was just like, nah, just go do it. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to be able to do it. Like, I never got trained, and they had me do it again with another van I wasn't supposed to drive, but it was bigger, and they basically told me on that day, because that happened in May. This is when, so now we're gonna move over to May. Now we're gonna move over to May. So, in May is when they started doing more fuck shit. They started giving me more packages. They started running me way more than they told me they were going to. And they told me it was going to be an increment. And I don't know what they thought an increment was. Just because one day where I did 356, they didn't realize that, I think maybe 20% of those packages, if not 30% of them, all went to the same fucking house. Not like they went to, not 30% of them went to the same house, but most of them went to the same house. And most of them, most of the other ones were simple and easy throws to people's houses. But they don't actually see that, they just see numbers and time, and it's so fucking annoying because they say they can see it on a map, but I've seen that map, and basically what you're telling me is you're taking a royal ass guesstimation by all the shit happening on that map. Because there's tons of stuff that have happened to me that they couldn't have known would have happened until it started happening. So it's really annoying when they started all basing shit off of a map, and it kept happening, and it kept happening. To the point where I basically finally told them to kick rocks after and this was late May, cause not much else happened in May. I basically told them to kick rocks either late May or early June. I told them to kick rocks because why in the fuck did you hire 8 people, not have me work for a week with no information happening on why the fuck that was happening? Because there literally wasn't a reason in between the days. I don't know why I'm doing that like I have a calendar in my hand, but in between the days I didn't work, no communication, nothing from my boss, and then all of a sudden, on the day I'm regularly scheduled to work, 10 minutes before I'm supposed to be there, I get a text from my boss, hey, can you work today? I know you're scheduled already, but can you work today? As if I didn't already have it on my schedule. Like, I got my schedule as he's sending me this text for the week. And I basically just didn't say anything. I just ghosted them. Because why the fuck does it take you that long to get back to me? And then he didn't even give a shit about that. He didn't even text me until 7 p.m. that night, which is I know when he was leaving the office. And I'm like, bro, you clearly don't fucking care that I'm even there or not, so who gives a shit? I'm gonna go and do another job, and I ended up going and doing Uber and DoorDash, and I much prefer that now more. Except, you know, getting together your schedule can honestly be a bitch, but I way prefer it, at least at this point, over working with a company that couldn't give a shit. So, we're gonna go into June. Coming back into this with June. June was honestly pretty great for me. Another pretty great month after, 3 months of crap. I did forget to mention one thing that I just noticed. In May, I did get my lens, which is on this camera. I had gotten the camera for Christmas. No. I had gotten it for my birthday and hadn't gotten a lens, finally got a lens. And then I was just honestly still so depressed. Couldn't film nothing. And yeah, so we're going to June now. So June was pretty great for me, and I went to my first Pride. I officially am 1 year coming out to at least my parents, and hopefully, I don't care if the rest of my family knows. The only reason I don't want them to know that I'm bisexual, I might as well just fucking say it, is because it's none of their business, and the only reason I told my parents is because I just finally wanted to stop hearing about it, and I wanted to see if them hearing that would change anything. P.S. It fucking didn't. It just made things a little bit different. That's what I'll say. And I was trying to do it on April 1st the previous year, but I only ended up doing it on April 2nd because something ended up happening. But next year I'm doing a video on coming out, so that'll stay tuned for that. That'll be in July. So I basically quit too right before Pride. It was either the week or two before. So I was feeling not especially great, but still great at the same time. Really just getting out, trying to meet more people, do more stuff. Didn't necessarily end up doing that, but I was definitely doing more stuff, getting out of my shell more. And realistically, I think that's all that happened in June. I have a thing that I'm not sure if it happened in June or July, so I'm just going to talk about it as if it happened in June, and people can correct me later if they remember if it was June or July. I obviously could have checked too, but realistically, it's either month, and it kind of doesn't change either for me whether or not it was which month. So in June or July, and this will lead into July, June or July, I went to my first wedding that wasn't a family wedding, which was awesome as well. I was unfortunately late to the wedding, but I was there for the reception, and the main reason I was even there for the wedding is because I got the fucking times mixed up, and so I didn't even realize until basically the wedding was about to start, and no one should have reminded me because I'm a grown adult. I kind of wish someone reminded me that wasn't right before the wedding was about to start. So I ended up getting there, had a great time. Apparently, I had a good enough time because this is also when I first blacked out ever. I am 25 now, and this is the first time I have blacked out since I first started drinking at 21. And I remember the night a lot differently than my friends on a couple of occasions. One is I remember talking to someone for what felt like 10 or 15 minutes. Apparently it was more like an hour, and I don't remember that. And to that person, I am definitely still sorry because I don't remember doing that. I just remember the conversation being a lot faster than it was happening. And then we figured out later it was because the bartender was a heavy pourer, and I was also mixing my alcohol. I had also kind of smoked a little bit before I got there, kind of wanted to level myself out. But I was having a great time all the way up until right at the end. And that's when apparently everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, because that's when the story diverges in two different ways. So I remember, the reception is ending. I walk out of the reception and I sit down on the front steps, head in hands, just chilling, hanging out, and either my buddy Janak, who you'll see if I post any videos or gaming videos or anything like that, or if he appears, he came up to me to see if I was doing okay, and I was fine, or at least I thought I was fine. Or it wasn't him, it was one of our other friends. Someone came up to me and I was chatting with them. I remember having a full-blown conversation with them. And then I remember watching everyone walk away. I walked out with everyone else, waved goodbye to people, got in my car, drove home, took off my outfit, or at least took off enough to go to sleep because I was really tired, put my retainer in because I have a retainer when I go to sleep, went to bed, and woke up. And apparently, that is not even remotely what fucking happened. So apparently what happened is I came out of the tent, I puked, I either puked when I just came out, or I came out after everyone helped me up, after I apparently passed out when I sat down, because apparently I laid out, and people came to help me up, walked me out, I puked then, and apparently I was still conscious, and someone, despite having to have known I was beyond drunk, because I even saw a video on my Ring doorbell at my house at the time, and I didn't even look like there was anyone there. Like, there looked like no person behind the driver's seat of that car. So I apparently threw up then. Someone handed me a sparkler, and I remember, because I still kind of have it, I have a burn on my finger from apparently holding the sparkler so long that it burned my fucking hand. And then my friend group gets me into the car, which, again, I remember going home. So it kind of tracks a little bit. They take me to a bar, and they just leave me in the car. And I totally get when they tell me that apparently they asked me if I was okay, and I said yes, and continued staring at the ceiling of the car. So I guess my own body was just like, we're just gonna zen out. It's cool. You are blasted as fuck. We're gonna take over. Don't worry. We're gonna keep you from throwing up. It's fine. We're gonna give you happy dreams. You'll be fine. You'll wake up in the morning. Because that's basically what happened. My whole thing was a fever dream. I felt great when I woke up the next morning. I even went and had breakfast with a friend. Because I was like, why do I feel so hungry? And that always happens to me after I throw up, go to sleep, and wake up the next morning. So, you know. They had gotten me water, which I had crushed one of the cups. I don't know if any of them noticed that, but I had crushed one of the cups. I had one of the other ones. My buddy couldn't get a hold of anyone, couldn't get my phone open to get me in the house, couldn't get a hold of anyone, nothing. And I apparently really tracked down my hallway, just making a shitload of noise, bumping into stuff, and my buddy even had to help me out of my outfit, which is so hilarious to think about. My literal first time blacking out, and I just remember it as I drove home and went to sleep and don't remember a single fucking thing. So I had to basically take their word on just about everything but the Ring doorbell footage. And unfortunately, my mother has that saved, and I have to go in and destroy that from her phone so she can't have it. But that was pretty much it for June, if that did happen in June. So we're going to talk about July really quick. With July has a story that is going to be another video like my coming out story, and so I'm going to do that next year to really expand upon July. But from what I can give you about July had 2 near-death experiences. One with actual good medical treatment where they didn't treat me like I was inconveniencing them and wanted me to get out of there in 5 seconds. And I had to go there because my temperature was 104 and I don't know why I keep itching my nose. Allergies, that's why. But they had taken my temperature and it was 104. And so they quickly get me back there, start running tests on me and shit. And nothing's coming up. I'm basically fine, nothing. Go home, chill out for a bit. Then all of a sudden, all the way right back, all of it. Or at least most of it. And my my brother is having to take me to the hospital at 1 o'clock in the morning, or 12, because I'm like going in and out of consciousness to the point to where I hardly knew what was happening. I was always apologizing. I was just losing my mind. And that's when I had my first intravenous line again this year. Man, I don't like needles after that. I have a bit of a phobia after that. Ironically, I forgot to mention too, and that can bring it back to it, is not only did I develop a minor phobia about that with needles, like a lot of stuff has been happening since I've come out, and that's going to be a whole thing in my coming out story because I'm planning to write out a whole bunch of my coming out experience in general. But when, oh my gosh, what was it? When the dog attacked me in April, I developed a little bit of a fear of dogs. And I don't like talking about it because I feel really stupid about it because I have 2 dogs. My roommate has a dog. I'm actually really comfortable with tons of dogs, but I have this minor fear of dogs now. If I do not know who owns that dog and cannot see that they have full control of that dog, I have such an air of caution about that animal, all because of that attack. And I hate it so much because I used to just trust dogs. And now I have that thought in my head. It's not that dog's fault, it's just stupid. Okay. So that's pretty much it for July. So this is the last part before my life actually starts to, well, August and September are the last months before life starts to get a lot better for me, in my opinion. And probably everyone else's opinion too. I had an aunt that I wasn't super close with, and my grandmother, who I was super close with for years, both die in weeks of each other. And in fact, my aunt died first, I believe. Yeah, she died first. And she actually died when I was leaving a movie, my favorite movie of this year, which was Deadpool and Wolverine 3. Well, Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, who cares? It's a title. It's a good movie, in my opinion. Not the point. But my grandmother dying hit me a lot harder than my aunt, not just because we were closer, but because there was a lot of stuff I definitely regretted about the last few years of my grandmother and I's relationship. My grandfather had an accident a few years ago, and my grandmother got kind of emotionally territorial over my grandfather, and it kind of separated a lot of us from her a little bit, and it was just a whole thing. And I feel as if I was single-handedly probably the worst cut off from everyone else, because I used to share birthdays with her, and I even got to kind of reminisce about that a little bit with my niece when I saw her a few weeks ago, because my niece's birthday is around Christmas, so she used to spend Christmases slash birthdays with my grandmother, so she had that kind of experience that I did. And the last like year or two, she definitely was having a lot of issues, and it definitely made things a lot harder to be around her, unfortunately, because I was just dealing with my own stuff, and I let that get in the way of spending time with my grandmother. And there's just stuff that you can't get back now, and I don't know how to properly, tell people to spend as much time as you can with people without it sounding like, because I lost out on something, you should definitely take that time to spend more time with people. Because I've already been that person. I just haven't had basically any energy for that shit, spending time with just about anyone, until I finally moved out, because of all the drama that kept happening with my family. And my grandma dying was honestly probably the last nail in the coffin for me. There was already stuff going on with my family in general, just in my general vicinity at home. So I just wasn't overall pretty done, and I wanted things to be better, and it finally gets to a head months later, and it just, I wish I could spend more time with her now, but she is gone, and so now I just have to do a lot of things to remember her. And ironically, people wouldn't know this, but a lot of my mannerisms, not even my family pays attention to it, but a lot of my mannerisms and things I do were primarily based off of her, because I would spend so much time with my grandparents, and like, it's wild. Like, she used to make, I'm like trying to not cry right now, because this is one of my first YouTube videos, and I don't want to be like the crier on camera. But she really liked peaches and making peach pie. And honestly, I had peaches from my family, and I have one jar left. And man, I kind of can't bring myself to eat it, because I'm noticing the longer that she's gone, I can't actually eat peaches anymore, because I don't really like them anymore, and I need a second. Okay, so I'm really just going to do a quick little rundown, because I wanted to kind of talk about stuff, but honestly, after I just edited this for the past 30 minutes before realizing that I didn't have the last bit of my footage, which somehow didn't fucking record, and my camera's on 3%, I'm gonna rush through this really quick, and it's going to be a really unfortunate rushed ending, and it may only be like 2 minutes, but that's going to be it's gonna be, because I honestly just don't have the energy, and I want to be really real with that. And I hope you understand, because you can see that I'm kind of pissed off that I can't finish my last video and get this done, because I really wanted to get it done and relax. That's not happening now. But basically, the last thing I talked about was my grandmother dying, and almost a week later, my nephew was born, and I was really excited to, have a nephew. It's really interesting. I mean, I kind of just feel like I'm going to be the cool uncle at this point. September, we cleaned out my aunt's house that had died either earlier this year or late last year. I honestly can't remember, and that's why I didn't bring it up. I just remember we cleaned out her house. I also tried to start YouTube in September, but I honestly was just really exhausted. I got all my camera equipment at that point, but I was just really exhausted, and it finally took, moving out of the house to finally get at least some level of courage to finally start doing this. October, I got a new tattoo, which is Trevenant. My roommate got that for me for my birthday. I was really excited to get it. It's a Pokemon, one of my favorite Pokemon since I opened a pack for him. I think it was last year or the year before that. But he became one of my favorite Pokemon because I like trees, I like souls, psychic, that type of stuff. And, you know, I liked it enough to get it. So whatever, it looks cool. I also worked a private event as a photographer. That was pretty fun. I like doing that. Got me back into wanting to do more photography more, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna try and put up a photo of it, may not. Like I said, I've been editing this for the past 30 minutes and I don't really want to do that. So, sorry. I drove to Texas. That was my first ever like really long drive in November. That was a lot of fun. Driving there was a lot of fun. Got to spend time with my buddy. I was trying to sell him my car. I was also trying to teach him how to drive stick, but unfortunately things kept coming up and I really just wanted to be there for him versus, you know, trying to sell him my car. And driving back, I ended up getting altitude sickness because of stupid decisions, and it ended up derailing me to like taking basically a whole day to finally get home instead of a few hours because I had to go to the hospital, so that wasn't super fun. I also moved out at the end of November. Like literally I came back from Texas and then left to go live at my new place now. So that's pretty exciting. That's when this all started. Fuck yeah, we're getting out. Then December, I pretty much spent most of it just chilling out, getting past things, letting go, doing that more every day. And just, yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that this last bit was rushed. Honestly, it was about 10 to 15 minutes of footage that I straight up talked to a camera that looked like it was working, but the footage is not on the fucking camera. I don't understand what happened, but yeah. I hope you guys have a good holiday, a good 2025, and we will keep making videos. Peace, guys.